Market update here on the 5th. So I'm going to go over Tesla again. I know I made a separate video about it. I'm going over it a lot, and I said in the video that there's a good chance if it breaks above 252, I think, that it could potentially be the move higher up here to 350. So here's another look at it, and let's look at the RSI here. So daily RSI, I'm using RSI 22, which usually the preset is RSI 14. So this one is actually 20 days, and you can see here the highest on record is, I think, that right there. So November 2021, 93. We're sitting here at 81. And you don't see this big spike straight up very often. So again, I would be very, very cautious here. Even if it is going to go higher, it's probably going to, it's probably going to wiggle around here and then go like that. I don't think it's going to go straight up here to 93. I guess it could, but anyway, RSI overbought, and then I drew the parallel line from the top without going into this line to show you that we are actually still inside of that. So you can see here 256 is actually the max for this to hit. To still be in the parallel line, we are in the supply zone, monthly supply and weekly supply, above all moving averages. But just to show you that this pattern is still has a chance, I'm going to show you both. I didn't do that right. We got so A, B, C. We're about to finish up potentially D. And if this pattern stays right, you can see here this happened in January 23, April of 24. So I would expect July of 25. And that is still in the triangle here. It'd be around 185. So it is possible that this tops out and then goes like that. That's still possible. And then again, after that, we would break out like that. Have a clear 5-wave move higher. So it's possible. Is it going to happen? We'll see. The one thing that is good for bulls, if you're still looking for the move to 300, is the fact that this already hit. Well, actually, it hit a little bit higher than the 1.61 fib. And here in pre-market, we're up a little bit. But it has not gotten outside of the parallel line. So that is still, if this is a 5-wave move, maybe it's already 5 waves and I missed the count there. I had it as a 3rd wave of a 5th. But it has still not gotten outside the parallel line. It has to get outside the parallel line to be a 3rd wave. So I'm watching that parallel line. Is it going to break above this, pull back, and then go higher? Or are we going to top out here? And I'll show you QQQ here in a second. Are we going to top out here and start falling? If it's going to top out and it falls, it'd probably take a while, but it'd get down here like that. So yeah, it might stay above 200 for a while and then eventually come down here to 185. So yeah, I'm watching this parallel line. We'll see what happens today. I'm pretty bearish here. I mean, obviously I'm overall bullish. It's a bullish move. You can't really be bearish, but I think a pullback is very, very likely. I'll look at Black Box here in a bit. And then QQQ. If this is a 5-wave move, we're going up here to 495. This is the positive for Tesla. Pullback and one more move higher, probably going to around 500 bucks. So QQQ still looks good to me. Let's look at NVIDIA now. NVIDIA is kind of weird to me. I really think unless this extends a little bit, we've probably got 2 or 3% more on QQQ. So is NVIDIA really going to go to 150 right now? I guess it could, but that's going to be a 20% move. So there's a possibility, and I went over this. I didn't put it on a video. I went over this the other day, and it's very interesting what happens here. So if you take the second and fourth waves, and you can see where it hits. We have already hit the outside part of that parallel line. The reason I think there is a move higher was the weekly looked like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and it still could be. You can see this little red right here, little red candle right here, fourth wave, fifth wave, or is this just 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like that? So the reason I'm questioning it also is because this move down was pretty impulsive right here. This is a pretty impulsive move, and now we're not really getting an impulse move higher. We're getting kind of a sideways move, really. We haven't broken outside the parallel line here. We're in supply as well. So it's possible that NVIDIA goes higher. Maybe it comes up here to 134. That's the 1.61 fib. And then that's a B wave. So we're potentially getting this on NVIDIA as well. Or it goes through and it does end up making 5 waves. So like that. So there's a few different possibilities on Tesla and on NVIDIA. I think the market's going to go higher shorter term, but I'd be watching out as we get into OPEX. Meta. I'm questioning Meta as well. I didn't think that this was a 5-wave move, but I'm looking at it a little bit more. This move right here, this came back into, or didn't quite come back into the first wave, but it's kind of a weak third wave here. We didn't get to the 1.61 fib. So if it's going to go higher, it's going to be a nested move. It's going to be 1, 2, like this. And then this is going to end up being like that. So it's got to be a nested move. If it's not a nested move, this could end up being a second wave if I'm wrong about this. The fourth wave ended right here. This was the fifth wave. This is the first move down. So either looking for this or third wave higher. So it really depends. I mean, QQQ could squeeze higher on this. Maybe it goes up here to 500. You don't know yet. But again, I'm being cautious here over the next like 12 days. We're probably going higher in OPEX, but after that, all bets are off. SPY. SPY is slightly higher here, and I think it is in a third wave. So we have 1, 2, 3, probably, who knows on this. I'm not going to go into smaller time frames. The fourth wave can start anytime. And I wouldn't be surprised if it started today, based on all those stocks potentially ready to pull back. So maybe a pullback into mid next week, and then another move higher into OPEX, like that. So 557 is the target based on all the previous movements. We'll see if we get a melt up. Maybe we get a bigger melt up than that, but 557. That's only 1% higher. So Apple. Apple's followed this pretty well. Maybe a third wave of a third wave. All right, right there is third wave, pulled back. Probably in a fifth wave of the third wave. So you can see here, this is getting ready to pull back as well. You might get a move up here to like 223, pull back here to like 218, 219, and then move higher for the final move higher. Where would be the projection of this going to? Let's go ahead and too many lines. Okay. So I just erased that. All right, second and fourth wave. And this is going to be, it's probably going to the midpoint of that, I would say. And maybe it doesn't even get to the midpoint. But if it gets to the midpoint, that's not going to work either. It's probably not even get to the midpoint based on where it's at right now. So Apple probably going to like 230-ish, I would say. Let's go over AMD. AMD, I have a lot of interest in. I do own some shares of this. It's pretty flat, and I do think this could be one of the bigger ones that could move up to 180, 190, and it actually is one of the reasons why the possibility of NVIDIA going to 150, it is possible, because AMD should be, at this point, ready to go higher. I don't know why it's being left behind so much. They need to get this move over with. Obviously, it's an ABC move. You can see all the corrective moves right here, back and forth. C wave higher to 180 minimum, I would say. So if this ends up being a third wave, you're looking at 176. Pull back, and then probably 190 or 180. Palantir. Palantir pretty flat overall. Yeah, I said that this potentially could do this back down here to 23 bucks. And you can see here on the third wave, I have these circled as the same spot. That makes a lot of sense, except for the fact that this made a pretty impulsive move here, and this never got it. So we'll see on Palantir. I can see this still going to 31, but maybe it's taking a breather for a little bit. Visa had some call action, but nothing substantial. Rivian still in the same spot. Let's see what else we got here. Let's look at CRM. CRM hit my target. It finally made that fifth wave here. Maybe it goes up here and fills the gap at 267. So there, you can see here, everything is getting ready to top out. Like CRM, I have this as a second wave, retracing right here to at least 260, and look at that, 261, potentially 268, and I'd be shorting it. Back down here, potentially a big move down. It's obviously not going to start right away. It could be do something like this, could just do something like that, and then pull back, and then, so CRM, definitely a short here eventually. What else we got here? Microsoft. Microsoft's at 460 now. Let's go over these waves here. So we have 1, 2. You can see third wave is complete right there. We get this move down. This looks like a fourth wave right here. So we should be in a fifth wave here on Microsoft. Can it make the same length as this first wave? It's going to be interesting. That's a pretty big move. $4.95. So again, we're at that point where it's just like, okay, these could be getting ready to top out unless they extend. They all could extend, and that's probably where, and I can see that happening really easily, to be honest, because so many people are going to be like, these can't run anymore. They can't run anymore, and they're gonna get out of them, and then they're just gonna keep on running, and then people are gonna FOMO at the top, and then it's gonna pull back. Happens over and over and over. So Microsoft potentially going to 490, or maybe it has a short fifth wave. We don't know yet. But based on QQQ right now, I would say not very much upside. Let's look at the dollar. The dollar has not really done anything. It's at 105 still. So let's look at this pattern here. Very, very stubborn right now. I'm actually happy that it has a lot of strength right now, though, because I'm in Japan and the yen is 160 to $1. Everything's pretty cheap over here. So, can't complain about that, but right now, is this still going to be making a third wave down? Or are we going to go higher here until the election? Trying to figure out the pattern that I had. I think it was A, B, C, like that. This potentially could be WXY. I don't know. The dollar is just kind of a weird in its own world right now. But again, at some point, this is coming down here to 92 to 97. So, dollar, not really much to look at. It kind of looks like a head and shoulders, to be honest, though. That looks pretty bearish to me. So, maybe it is going to come down here to 90 real quick. And maybe we'll get this crazy extension on all these stocks that David Hunter's been talking about for a while. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling on here. I don't really see that many more to look at. GME at 24 still has not made that move that I've been talking about, back up to 30 to 35. That could be coming soon. Lulu. Lulu still has not bounced. Crazy. Still looking for that bounce up here to like 380. That's the 0.5 fib, something like that. Never really bounced from earnings. Had like a day or two and then went back down. Let's look at IONQ. So 717. This is a growth stock here. And you can see here I already have this charted out, what I think is going to happen. Down here to 540. I traded this a little bit in here. I'm out looking for that move down to 540. When it gets down to 540, that's going to be a buy. Because this could potentially go to 20 bucks. Maybe higher. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Basically, the whole premise behind this video is that there's a little bit more upside, but be very cautious because at any point they could start rug pulling. I'm not really seeing it on Black Box. Let's look at Black Box real quick and just see. Kind of liking being over here in Asia. I get pre-market a lot more. At home, I'll wake up like an hour before the market and I feel like I'm not as ready as I am here. So here's the flow from the last day. You see the puts on Tesla. We had 644 at 242 for today's expiration. We also had a 220 call though. And 250 put as well. All short term. So those are the only flow, I think. Yeah, above the ask. There's nothing else but Tesla and Dell. So gonna be very interesting. You can see here how the IV went up. So that's very bullish, but that was early in the morning. And then the last one was at 10:42. I think that is actually Pacific time, maybe. So like 12:40, and that was a put. Had a call at 8:53. So the last one was a put. So yeah, that's the flow from the last day. Let's look at NVIDIA. So NVIDIA had no flow. Let's go to historical, and we're gonna go 1st to the 5th. The only flow above 500,000 this week on NVIDIA was on the 1st. So I'm not really seeing the flow that I want to see for this to keep on going higher. It's possible they already have their positions as well, but short term, that was bought at 120. They probably already closed that out. Let's look at Meta. None for this week. Microsoft, none for this week. That's kind of sketchy in my opinion. Let's look at everything this week. So again, you don't see anything above 500,000 above the ask, except for Tesla. In SMCI, nothing since Wednesday, obviously. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. We'll see what happens with Tesla. I might do an update during the market, but be very cautious. We'll see what happens. I will talk to you soon.